Welcome back to another episode of Real Chumps, where chatting about movies feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Marcel, and with me as always is my co-host, Danny.
This week, we continue looking at the original movies of this summer's sequels and remakes with the 2016 movie Deadpool, directed by Tim Miller, written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, starring Ryan Reynolds, Marina Baccarin, TJ Miller, and many more.
In this episode, we're going to discuss the simple yet extremely effective storytelling the movie outlines, the unique approach to an origin story, some of our hopes and wishes for Deadpool and Wolverine, and much, much more. But before we roll that intro, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode.
Join in on that conversation by following us on YouTube at Real Chums. With that being said, let's roll that intro.
It's actually another classic quiz from Marcel.
Why are you doing this to me? Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
All right, I'm gonna name several of Ryan Reynolds' co-stars from various movies. Okay, and you have to guess the name of the movie based on the co-star. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if I were to say,
just go. Let's just go.
All right.
We'll commit.
Okay, all right. And there's. Should we time this?
No, it's not. Okay, we're not going to time this. This is going to be miserable.
I have 15, and there's some duplicates here. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one, Sandra Bullock.
The Proposal.
Good. Hugh Jackman.
Deadpool Wolverine.
I'll give it to you. It's not out yet, but okay. Anna Faris.
Oh, freak! Anna Faris. What else? What is Anna Faris in? Not with Ryan Reynolds.
She's in the scary movies, like the scary movie movies.
Okay, so this is an older movie?
Ish, yeah, from the 2000s, yeah.
Pass.
Okay. Blake Lively.
I should know this. I should know this one. It's a rom-com?
It's not a rom-com.
It's a drama?
It is not a drama.
Is it Blade?
Nope.
Next.
Okay. Jake Gyllenhaal. This is a astronaut. They're not an astronaut. They're out in outer space.
Oh, freak.
Came out a couple of years ago.
Pass.
Okay. Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. And Ryan Reynolds?
Mm-hmm.
I know this one, and I am so sad that I cannot bring it to memory. I'm terrible at this type of memory. For the record, let's go. Okay, next one.
Denzel Washington.
And Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
Is this a drama?
I actually haven't seen this one. It is a drama of sorts, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Denzel Washington, Ryan Reynolds.
Came out in 2012.
Oh, I wouldn't know this one.
Okay.
Okay, go.
Isla Fisher. This is a rom-com.
Freak, dude.
One of his his most popular rom-coms.
I think I'm getting him confused with Dane Cook right now. Because every single one I'm thinking of, I think I'm like, no, it's Dane Cook.
Okay, we'll skip that one. Someone is listening and is yelling at you right now. The Change Up. Sorry, I just gave you the Jason Bateman. The Change Up. Okay, next one. Gal Gadot.
Oh, this is Red One or the Netflix one with The Rock. I can't remember what it's named.
Okay.
It's like
I'll give it to you. Red Notice.
Red Notice. Red Notice is the new one.
Abigail Breslin. This is a co-star from the previous one that I mentioned with Isla Fisher. Rom-com. Isla Fisher, Abigail Breslin.
No.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges?
Yeah. Another comic book movie.
The Adam Project?
Jeff Bridges is not in the Adam Project.
I get it. It's not. I'll call it. It's another comic book movie of Ryan Reynolds, not Marvel or DC.
Not Marvel or DC, yeah. Well, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not.
Dude.
All right, next one. Amy Smart.
Amy Smart?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I cannot picture Amy Smart.
This is also the co-star with the Anna Faris one that I mentioned earlier. It's the same movie. These two, Anna Faris and Amy Smart, are the two female leads.
Okay.
In this rom-com. Okay, and last one, Leslie Mann. We recently talked about
Oh,
Leslie
let's.
Mann.
Freak, bro.
All right.
Man. Do not bring me on. I feel like I do.
Do we have a buster on this soundboard here?
Hold on. Fail. That was a complete fail.
No, that's good. I mean, you got all right. So Anna Faris was Just Friends. Have you seen that?
Yes, I've seen. I was like,
Blake Lively, Green Lantern.
dude, I watched that movie. I've never watched that movie in its entirety. I watched I think I've started it at least 6 times. And I think I get to the part where he's like learning how to be a lantern, and then I lose interest, or I like check out. Yep. And I say, you know what? I can watch a better movie.
The other one you missed was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal, Life. Yeah, they're astronauts on like the space station, and like this, they pick up this like little
like a petri dish thing.
Yeah,
I just saw a trailer for that. I think like a couple days ago, because I was looking at when Romulus was going to be released, and that like people were saying, if you're gonna like Alien, this is an alternative.
Oh, okay.
Because they're whatever.
Samuel L. Jackson, the Hitman's Bodyguard. You knew that one.
I did know that one, and I could not. Because Samuel L. Jackson and Catherine Zeta, no, not Catherine.
Salma
Hayek
in the sequel, right?
Yes.
Denzel Washington was Safe House.
I have seen Safe House, but it's a long time since
I've never seen it. I've heard mixed reviews, but mostly people like it. Did you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay. Isla Fisher, Definitely Maybe.
Never heard of that movie.
Oh, you've never seen Definitely Maybe? It's a cute movie. He has a daughter, Abigail Breslin, when she was younger, and he's retelling the story. It's just him and his daughter, and he's retelling the story of how he met her mother, so to speak.
Maybe hold on. Let me Definitely Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it's cute. Maybe we'll bring it up for rom-coms. I gave you the Jason Bateman one, which was the Change Up. You got Red Notice for Gal Gadot. And then for Jeff Bridges, it was R.I.P.D.
Oh, you're right. I forget that he was in that movie.
Dude, that movie, I started it in like 20 minutes, and I was just like, I cannot.
It is, so they R.I.P.D. 1 and 2 was on Netflix for a little bit.
Wait, there was a sequel?
Yeah, there's a sequel.
No.
Yes. Look that up.
Came out in 22. Yeah. Okay. None of the original cast is back.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like one of those like straight to DVD sequels.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And then you missed Amy Smart for Just Friends again.
Just Friends. I like that movie. That was funny.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. And then Leslie Mann was in the Change Up with the Jason Bateman one earlier. I think you got what out of 14, you got like
3,
5-ish.
No way. There's no way I got 5. When we get to do this full time, this will be way more fun because we'll both come in way more prepped.
This is fun. Let's jump into Deadpool. Look, so as we mentioned in our previous episode, we are looking at the original movies of this summer's sequels and remakes. Last week we did Twister in preparation for Twisters. We're looking at Deadpool in preparation for Deadpool and Wolverine. And I'm going to start off with I've only seen this movie once. This is my second time.
Oh, okay.
And it's great. Like, I have a good time with it. I don't think you did. Did you?
I don't. Well, I'm gonna wait till you finish with your thoughts.
Let me tell you okay, so here's my relationship with this movie. 1, X-Men Origins, Wolverine Origins, whatever that was just horrific, right?
Absolutely. So
and Ryan Reynolds has talked about like how he was basically blackmailed to like be in that movie. And anyway, we know what hot mess that was. But then when this came out, I didn't see it. I actually saw this. I hate to say this because I always judge you for this. watching movies on your iPhone.
Wow.
And I'm judging anyone else that watches movies on their iPhone. But I watched this on a flight in the Delta on the little TV monitors that they had.
Okay, that doesn't count on your phone. You judge people on people who watch movies on the plane as well?
No, I don't. I have this fun relationship with there are movies that, like, my guilty pleasure movies that I was like, I kind of want to go see that, but I'm not going to pay to go see it in theaters. And then back when I was traveling a lot for work, then I would just watch them on
A flight.
On a flight. Like we talked about Hellboy, the new one.
I was about to say, I was like, I feel like there's a good number of our movies that we've seen, that we've talked about on this podcast, where the first time you watched it was on a plane.
That's probably true. And this is one of those, not because I didn't want to go see it. I was busy. It's 2016. I was super busy during this time, and I just never got around to it. And then it was on the airplane. I was like, I'll watch it. And then I watched it. I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I thought it was fine.
You thought it was fun.
I thought it was fun. And then watching it this time around, I think I appreciate it a lot more this time around than I did the first time. And we'll talk about it. But
okay,
I think I enjoyed it more this time than I did the first time. What's your experience with
this? I think this is my fourth time watching this movie.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of like, do I like this movie? And then I was reminded of why I love this movie.
Oh, you do?
This movie is such a fun time. I don't think so I think part of it was because I was coming we're coming from Twister. So Twister has no right looking as good as it does coming from 1996. And then you come to a movie like Deadpool where heavy CGI is used.
Yep.
It's not that it looks bad today, but it definitely feels slightly aged.
Oh, there are times where Deadpool looks like very rubbery. I feel like that's the best description I can give it. Like, he just looks rubbery.
I felt like it just felt like it's like aged CGI.
Okay.
It's not as bad as some other movies, but it's definitely it's in there. Especially because the opening sequence has a very opening intro has a pretty aggressiveness in that. If I remember correctly, they used the opening sequence as part of like a pitch to get it made, or that was like one of the first things that they ended up making, and they released it, and everyone freaked out. If I remember correctly, I can't.
Yeah. So they did test footage, right? As part of the pitch that they took after the whole fiasco that was X-Men Wolverine Origins, whatever those are called. That one's called. Ryan Reynolds was very passionate about this.
Yeah.
So they did test footage of it. They took it to Fox. Fox said, nah, we're not going to do it. And then Ryan Reynolds has gone on record to say that someone he knows, could be he himself, leaked it. Okay. And then it got all this love for
People
it.
People
freaked out for it. And then finally Fox was like, oh, okay, maybe we should do this. And that's why. And he's gone on to say, like, had it not been leaked by
said person,
this movie would have never been made.
I remember that time.
Yeah.
Like, I truly remember it I remember getting leaked. I remember some of the sequences that happened and thinking, okay, like, I'm here for this.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I was here for this movie. Rewatching this movie, I'm reminded on why Ryan Reynolds, in essence, owns Deadpool. He mans it. He has taken ownership of it, and he's driven this character into what we're gonna get here this weekend. And I'm not sure what to fully expect yet. But the fact that it grew into this sort of like love-hate bond with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine and having this thing, and that like this could be the reset that we all want and we need for the MCU, to help kind of clear up some crazy stuff that has happened, or just like give us like a weird reset. But this movie sets just a wonderful base for a beloved character, and I was happy to rewatch this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also because we just recently watched X-Men Days of Future Past for its 10th anniversary, right? This came out 2 years later. And it's funny that like Fox did not want to make this movie.
It's so weird.
They did not want to make it because of the leaked footage. Then, it's like we twisted their arms into having it made, yet how successful it was. And I think it all goes back to just like being like, just you have a character that has lots of history, just adapt that, right? And like there's already a fan base there. And just give the people that. I'm not saying you need to always like give them the cameos and give the audience what they want. No, we talk a lot about subverting expectations, but like it's already a well built out character. And what they did with X-Men Origins by shutting his mouth and like making him this weird creature,
ninja thing,
yeah,
or a super soldier type thing.
Yeah, it didn't work, right? And so like I think that's what's so unique about this character. Also, I am fascinated by the, what was it, $58 million budget this movie had?
Yeah, this movie. So I think this is part of the reason why one, Deadpool is in a costume for a lot of it, and we had Colossus, which is, I mean, he's one of my favorite X-Men, and then we had, what's the nuclear warhead?
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Love that. I love the banter. In fact, I think that whole banter, I didn't like her very much in some of the first watches that I watched, but this one, for whatever reason, just like solidified in some of the best spot, like the quirky, like on the nose, what this movie is trying to do.
Yeah.
Banter. And I'm just like, I'm here for this. But I think the budget for, I think they had the budget they had, and this just goes to show, in my mind, this just shows to me where a love for the material from the actors or from the creatives that are going about doing it, a restriction on what they are able to do, and their desire to make something great gives us something that we end up cherishing deeply.
Yes. And I think going back to your comment about like how the CGI looks aged, right? It didn't bother me watching it.
I'm not saying it bothered me. I'm just saying that I noticed for sure, especially when coming from like Twister. But it's better than some other movies that I've seen recently. I'm not talking about Flash. I'm talking about some other stuff. But at the end of the day, like it is, I think they did a great job.
Yeah, no, with that $58 million budget, and I think that's what's crucial about this, is that this movie had a very limited budget. Fox didn't want to make it. They pulled out money and they said, fine, well, we're going to give you 60 million, almost 60 million. Go figure it out. Right. And I love how the movie, like the opening credits has like, Ryan Reynolds and a British guy, villain. And then it says, the writers, the real heroes of this movie, right? No, really. I think this movie, the real heroes of this movie are the writers, because they took tropes from various comic book movies, but they really made this a character-driven story.
Why don't we let's give us the breakdown of what are the beats, what are the things that that help us to realize that this is a movie driven by a character?
I think the biggest thing that stood out to me this watch that goes to that point is that this is not a traditional linear storyline, right? We don't start with Wade Wilson. Is it Wade Wilson? That's his name, right?
Yeah.
As Wade Wilson falling in love, figuring it out, right? And then like we start, with that highway scene, and then him asking, how did I get here, right? Type of a thing. And then going back. I think had the movie followed your traditional, like, here's Peter Parker, and here's how he got bit by the spider, right? Here's Wade Wilson, here's the cancer, and here's what happened. And like going beat by beat, I would have been lost completely. Even though it is a character-driven story, and and you're introducing the character, giving me conflict, providing resolution, giving me growth, it would have dragged. So by putting what's his face, Deadpool right at the beginning, subverting my expectations right away by the over the top violence, by the funny comedy, by just him like, tonight I'm gonna touch myself, right? And then we scaled back to figuring out, okay, who is this British guy he's going after? The whys. You planted a seed as a writer with the script. You planted that seed for big payoffs that are going to happen. And I think that worked really, really well. Because had you done, again, a linear story like that, it would have dragged a bit. And I don't know if you picked this up. How many action sequences does this movie have?
There's not a lot.
Just 2.
Yeah, the beginning and the end.
Yeah, the highway scene, and then the at the end where they're at the helicarrier, it looks like, from Shield.
Yeah.
That's it. And then you have like the montage where he's out fighting, which only lasts like 2 minutes of that. But that's it. You have 2 action sequences, and I think they knew the limitations in their production, that they had to say, look, we're just going to do one big fight sequence at the beginning, character-driven story, and a final action sequence at the end.
And I think what I want to add to this is, like, watching it this round, I also highly noted this fact, right? One, they come in, like you said, they've come in with a strong opening with Deadpool. I mean, especially when this was released, we're automatically drawn in. We're getting to see the footage that we got to see when this was leaked footage. But we get the fun banter of Wade Wilson, right? And that we, not only that, but then we have Colossus and the teenage Warhead, who play this other role as the conscience for Wade, right? But you're in 100% helping us. I mean, one, Deadpool is a character that subverts expectations in period.
Yeah.
He also is breaking the fourth wall, creating this dynamic between not only the story, but with us as the audience members, which is something that he could not do if they had started in a traditional manner.
Yeah.
On top of that, like you said, it would have 100% dragged, because although because the opening sequence is like 30 minutes, 25, I don't know, something like
25-ish,
25-ish minutes, and then it comes back into him being the Merc for the girl who he wants to help, and we don't know his motives, right? We just know he's a killer, whatever, and is part of this Merc club type thing that has a Deadpool going, and then he gets the girlfriend, and all that sequence, especially the torture sequences. I like because I had to break this movie up because I was working when I was doing it. I actually did feel the drag in the torture sequence, which I don't think I would have if I was just watching it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
But because I had to break it up into 3 watches, I felt that middle section definitely. It was long, but we needed the long middle section to re-emphasize that beginning portion of why he was going after this knucklehead, and he gets away, and why he's so pissed about it.
Yeah, and it works really great. I mean, the story in and of itself is, and I think this was one of the criticisms I remember people saying, was it's just too simple, but that's okay.
It is okay. I feel like we and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Like, I think sometimes we get too caught up in wanting some big elaborate thing for a movie.
Yeah.
When those things make I think we go back to Ant-Man Quantumanium yet again. That is a perfect example of having too much and would have benefited from a more simple story.
Yep.
Overall.
Yeah. And it works really well, because then you are given the opportunity, as we've talked, to really flesh out this character, to really flesh out the motivations. Yeah, like, do I buy the whole, like, what's her face, Domino, Morena's character, what's her name, Vanessa, that she wouldn't have taken him back because he's ugly now. No, I think had you added a line in there jokingly of her saying like, "Oh, I only like you because you look like Ryan Reynolds" or something like that, right? I think maybe that would have
That'd be funny.
been funny, right? Right. Come on, come on, Kevin Feige, hit me up, dude. I'll write your next one. No, but like I think because it is a simple story, a basic story, it gives the writers that opportunity to really flesh out the character and go with this non-linear approach of introduce Deadpool, subvert expectations already. We know it's an origin story, yet you're introducing me the superpowered character right away. And I love that rather than starting from beginning and how I got my powers and the conflict and yada yada yada, right? And then it just plays out a lot smoother. It's character driven, character motivations are laid out, and it just works perfectly. I really love the structure. And it's I can't remember the second one that well. I've only seen that one once as well.
I actually think I've only seen the second one once as well.
But these are kind of the concerns that I have for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, let's get into that because I mean the budget alone, the Deadpool and Wolverine's like what 300
250 million. This one was 58 million, and yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine's 250 million.
They also have the weight of, like I said, of Marvel to basically they're hoping that this brings Marvel back into the conversation sphere of like Marvel still's got it and what's going to be next and like X-Men or what, we don't know.
Yeah.
Let's let alone the movie budget, the amount of marketing that has gone into this movie is astronomical.
Double it. So let's say this movie's budget overall is probably 500 million.
Yeah.
Holy cow, dude. I just processed that. That is so much. But I mean, they're obviously banking in on this. And it took what? When did the second one come out? 2018?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean it's taken 5 years to get a sequel. Granted, you had the buyout of Fox. Marvel was finishing up obviously the Infinity Saga, and so they were trying to figure out how do we incorporate this.
They also they weren't sure about more mature rated content.
True. Yeah. I mean, it's bizarre that 9 years ago I would have never thought that that we would have gone Fox to sell, right, the characters to Disney. And second, if it had happened, that the first movie that the MCU would have done to introduce the mutants was going to be Daredevil. I think that's what's like.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's like, oh, you're going with Daredevil to introduce like mutants into this. I know they've casually introduced mutants in other ways, but like its own movie to Deadpool, I think that's ballsy. Good for them.
Yeah. Okay, so before we, I guess, I don't know, where do you want to go from here? I feel like there's a lot of, do you feel that they will be able to, because I remember the second one being okay. It wasn't, the story was a little bit more, but I think there was nowhere that it was going. This one, I think it's okay that we don't have anywhere it's going, and it's a simpler story because we just wanted a movie with Deadpool. And they wanted to do Deadpool well.
Yeah.
And I think they did that, like we've talked about. I think the sequences at the beginning and the end are really great. I think in the middle, the story between him and the
Ajax.
Is that what? Yeah, Ajax.
Yeah.
The hatred that we grow to have with Wilson is warranted, and it's done a great job. And it left us with enough nuggets that we wanted to have more.
Yeah.
Right. Second one, I don't remember 100% what I know. It had to do with like what they were trying to stop one individual, and there's some quirky moments and that sort of thing. But it was close to when Fox was having some conflict, so there wasn't who knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, there's that. This new Deadpool Wolverine, there's a lot. How much do you think Ryan Reynolds is putting effort? Like his love for the first one was like huge, and there's a lot of content out there and stories of like how he was involved in the production. How do you think that does that still carry over into this third one? Do you feel like they will be able to continue that Deadpool legacy with an addition of another big house character like Wolverine and Hugh Jackman?
Yeah. So Ryan Reynolds is credited as a writer for Deadpool and Wolverine, um, with Rhett Reese, who also did this first one. So I do, and obviously he's on there also as a producer. So I do feel like he is still very protective of this character, which is great. I worry that here's my concern. So remember the movie Free Guy?
Yes.
So Free Guy was literally about to be released. It was like 3-4 months away from releasing in theaters when the Fox merger happened, or when Disney bought out for Fox. So Sean Levy, the director for this, was a director for Free Guy. Director for Deadpool and Wolverine, director for Free Guy. And Ryan Reynolds came together and said, okay, now that we're part of the Disney house, let's go back and reshoot a bunch of things using copyrighted stuff from Disney. And that's why there's that one scene where he pulls out a lightsaber in Free Guy. And then there's that other scene where he also has like the Captain America shield. And then Chris Evans comes on and he, he's watching supposedly and he's like, what the F? Right? All of that was reshoots. And it was just very clear nods to like, oh, now that we can access all of these copyrighted IPs, right? And let's throw them all in here. My concern is that this is going to be just like a big old like cameo fest. One, I feel like it's just going to be like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, who are buddies in real life, just going a bit too much over the top. And I don't want that. One thing that I appreciated this viewing, and I remember the first time I watched the Deadpool, was that I felt all the big jokes were in the trailer. And then when I saw them in the movie, I was like, oh yeah, that was funny. And like there was little additional jokes, but like I felt like the big jokes were all in the trailer.
I do remember this.
And I was just kind of like, I wasn't let down, but I was just like, okay, nah. It was funnier I guess it was funny to see them in greater context, right? Now that I watched it this time, I had forgotten about him, and I enjoyed it a lot more because it's like, oh yeah, like I didn't have just the trailer in mind. I've stopped watching everything for this new one because I just don't want it to be spoiled. And I really do want to be able to like enjoy myself watching Deadpool and Wolverine without like the context of the trailers.
I think I'm with you. They've put out like so many trailers.
I've muted a bunch of stuff on Twitter because I felt like some stuff was already spoiled for me, and I was like, I did not want to know that. But that's my concern, especially with the $250 million budget. You're going to go big.
Do we know what the runtime is?
I think it's the same. It's like a little over 2 hours, which
that feels like only 2 hours with the amount of stuff that they've like teased and like hinted at. Like,
yeah,
this will be, because this movie isn't like fast. This is I feel like it's a pretty well paced movie.
It's well paced, yeah.
But I do think, like you said, like because the structure of all of it, it's not like it doesn't. I don't think it's gonna be. But I think the Deadpool Wolverine will feel a lot faster.
Yeah.
Pacing wise.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, let's talk about the performance of Ryan Reynolds then for this movie. Or do you want to start with somebody else?
No, let's go ahead and jump in with Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, like you said, we know that Ryan Reynolds felt, blackmailed into doing
X-Men.
X-Men or Wolverine Origin, whatever the crap that is. And we all wanted to see Deadpool, and then it came out, and we're like, "What is this garbage?" And so having Ryan Reynolds, and not only this, but like Ryan Reynolds has fully adopted the Deadpool persona, and in almost the case that like now Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds for everybody's. And if anyone reads Deadpool the comic book, I think we all think of
hear Ryan Reynolds' voice in our head.
Absolutely. And so I think watching it the first time, I loved it. I do think that this watch, with the amount of Ryan Reynolds that we've had in other things that we've come out, when it comes to the action comedy sort of like stuff like The Hitman's Bodyguard, Free Guy, some of these other things, I definitely feel Ryan Reynolds. And, Red Notice, those sort of things. There's moments in that where like it's there. And I think that when Deadpool comes into play, it's very much Ryan Reynolds being able to like ham it up, not only with writing, but with perhaps ad-libbing and all sorts of things that he loves to do.
Yeah.
Which I think is great for a character. I do like it in this movie. And I wanted to know, do you feel the same way? Do you feel like does it get too much at any point? Where are you at?
I don't think it gets too much. No, I think there are some great jokes here. Like, there really is.
There's some really smart jokes. I think this is the first time watching this that I'm like, wow. Like, that's just, if you're in the know for that one line.
Yeah.
It hits so hard.
My favorite one is when Colossus is telling him, like, we're going to go see the professor. And he's like, Stewart or McAvoy, right?
I know, especially because we just watched the Days of Future Past. So funny.
It's one of those, like, jokes. I wonder, like, if the casual viewer picks up on those. Like, not every, but I think that's my favorite line.
Mine was actually the one with Negasonic and him, and he's like, "Are you gonna be a brooding little girl, and have the two persona thing?" And he's trying to egg her on, and the rest of the movie, he's got like this give and take with her about her fulfilling the role of her character, and then at the end he like surprises her and he's like proud of her. I just think like that whole arc, it's such a wonderful payoff from beginning to end, from the beginning of the movie to when she gets introduced with him to the end of the movie, and I really appreciate it.
No, I don't think it was over. I don't think it was too much, and maybe because I'm still viewing this as like his first, which it is, his first take on the character, his first take on this character, and I worry that this new one is going to be a bit too much, too over the top, but I think it works great. But you also have, which I think this is, Ryan Reynolds is a great actor.
He's a phenomenal actor,
and I think he's had some big bombs he has in his career, okay, and now that he has found obviously Deadpool and he's just really leaning into that, but like he's a great actor. Did you ever see Buried?
Where he's like just all in the coffin, right?
It's all in the coffin.
Yes, it's
and
phenomenal.
It's just him. Wow, when I watched that I was like, okay, I dog on this guy too much. Like, he is incredible in that movie.
I remember that movie being a huge movie for him. For people,
I feel like not many people watched it.
Dude, I remember people.
It was an indie film. I think it released in Sundance. It was released in a film festival.
Yeah, I remember it coming out because it was released in film. I think I was still in college, and so like it was one that like people were talking about. Part of it is because of the fact that it's just in the coffin.
Yeah,
just him, and the amount of tension and growth and like the depth that he goes about doing it, especially because he hadn't done something like this prior. And so everyone just knew him as like the quirky, funny / rom-com-y guy.
Yeah.
And coming there. I think we get a little bit of this in this movie.
Yeah, we get those moments, right? And I think that's what saves this movie from being a little bit too over the top. and again, I should have watched Deadpool 2, but like I feel like we don't get a lot of that in the sequel.
I think you're right.
Um,
If I remember correctly, it's very much a similar mission or similar kind of task to what we kind of get with with the overall Deadpool mission,
yeah, yeah.
but we don't get much of the interpersonal stuff of what Wilson is trying to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's what really saves this movie is that we have those moments to to engage with Wade, to see him break down after he is scarred, or even before when he finds out he has cancer. Like those are really like strong, beautiful performances from Ryan, which help balance the over the top, self referential comedy that's in this movie. And I think you have the opportunity because if you're gonna combine Ryan Reynolds, who, as we've talked about, is a great actor, and Hugh Jackman, who's just phenomenal, and you give him those opportunities to really like test out their acting skills, I think hopefully the this third one will be great. But I think that's what really works for this original Deadpool movie.
That's the thing. Where I felt like it was some of the top end stuff is when him leaving his girlfriend
Vanessa.
Vanessa, and he goes to this compound and he realizes that he's not going he wants to just get better, to be back with her, and he's willing to endure whatever it takes. And to me, where I think like he ends up carrying Ajax.
Yeah.
Like some of the scenes with Ajax and with what's your bucket, he is the one that carries that. And although he's still providing quips, they have so much emotion to them. I think the one that is one of the bigger ones is when he's talking to the other patient, and they have their moment, and it comes back to Ajax, and he still ends up quipping at him, but you can tell that he feels he wants to do more, and he wish he could, but all he can do, he knows he has to endure, right? And that's when he goes into the tube, and has the actual transformation
Yeah.
of what he becomes, right? But we get it's a long sequence before we even get to that portion, and I think to me, um, it's a good complementary to like all the sex and the love and the quirky
Mhm.
banter that they get with of him falling in love and finding the fact that he has chemo, or has cancer, and overall the performance that he gives feels very emotional. And again, I think part of it comes down to his eyes, to his the way he goes about delivering the lines.
Yeah.
That I really hope that Ryan Reynolds will fight, that he's fought in order to bring in all these individuals, but to bring a story that have some sense of real emotion to complement all the other things. I feel that might be the case. I think that Ryan Reynolds has earned enough in with movies that he's created.
Yeah.
I think we look at the Adam Project, we look at some of these other films that he has starred in, and this character that he loves dearly, enough to convince Hugh Jackman to come back to reprise his role as Wolverine, that there's something there that they want to tell that we will there. And so I'm anticipating that because of this growth and the rapport that he has amongst filmmaking and in the execs and as a producer and as a savvy business individual, that he will be able to give us something that we haven't had in a while.
Yeah. No, I along with the rest of the world and Disney are betting big on this upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm excited for it. I really am. Okay, here's the question. My last question. How we live in a world where you have projects like The Mandalorian, right?
Okay.
Where Pedro Pascal is not on set. Okay, it's two body doubles, one that's doing all the acting, and then the other one that's doing all the stunt doubles, and then he just comes in and records his lines. Outside of the stunts for this upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine, do you think that's Ryan Reynolds in there the whole time?
I would think so. I think that he loves the he loves this character and he wants to make this the best film it can possibly can. That he's on set. If it's not a full action sequence that is a body double, that he's there.
Yeah.
Being able to perform full lines and providing the banter and the energy that he himself brings to a film. And so, yeah, I think that he's going to be, he is the person behind the mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think so?
I want to say yes, but the guy is doing so much though, right? Like he's got his gin. Is it gin or whiskey? Whatever.
It's Gin Aviation, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that.
He's running that. He's the co-owner of the
Mint.
football team.
Oh, yeah.
Mint as well, and of the football team, the Wrexham. Okay. He has like 2 movies that he's working on at all times, right? I hope so.
From what I truly do think it's that he's I think he loves this project too much to not give it the most love he can.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a couple scenes that he isn't,
Sure.
but I think overall he's behind the mask.
He's in there. Well, look, I'm excited for this movie. I really enjoyed watching this movie again. I had a great time. Enjoyed it more this second time than my first time, and I'm really excited for Deadpool Wolverine.
Me too. What's your favorite moment of this movie?
Dude, I love a good montage sequence, and even though it's super short, I have a great time. I think that's when you have DMX playing in the background, right?
Yeah.
X gonna give it to you, right? And he's just going off trying to find Ajax, and then it's just wild, like over the top violence that's just perfect because it's quick. He goes. I think we have like 3-4 people that he's going after. Then that whole time, and it just works really well. And it's right at the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, and it's just fast paced. It's edited really well, and it just really pushes me into the next act. I really like it. I love that montage scene. Yours?
I think honestly, I love the taxi scene, all the taxi scenes. I just think they're freaking hilarious. I love that they spend a fun little quick montage getting all the guns in the apartment, and then he goes in the car and he's talking with the driver, which his name is escaping me right now, but like
Dopinder.
Yeah, and he's like, and then his cousin is in the trunk, and he's like, don't do that, kill him. And then he leaves. He's like, didn't you leave your stuff in the car? Oh, dang it. I don't know. It's super fun. It's a fun quirk. It's full send on the Deadpool comedy, and I just absolutely love it.
I was watching an interview with Ryan Reynolds a couple weeks ago where he said before the Disney buyout of Fox, he had pitched the third movie like bare bones. He said that he had pitched it to Fox for it to be very like just $58 million budget, going back to like really scaled down production. And the movie was going to be him, Deadpool, and Dopinder going on a road trip, and him just doing these various like jobs with Dopinder.
That would be freaking awesome.
And it's just them in the taxi cab on a road trip. And he's like, before the whole Disney buyout, that was the pitch that I had done. And now it's a $250 million movie.
I hope. Will he make it into the movie? He's got to, right?
Dopinder, yeah, he'll be in there.
It's freaking hope, dude. If he's not, I'm gonna be furious.
No, he'll be in there.
I guess here's one last question. After we don't know what Deadpool Wolverine. We're not going to review it when it comes out. So, we're not going to talk about it in the pod, but we'll probably do something. Give our thoughts. But overall, where do you hope that Deadpool ends up going?
Yeah, actually, you beat me to this question. I'm okay with him just being in standalone movies. and not necessarily be part of the Avengers. I'm gonna go there and say it. I think you can incorporate him into like X-Men movies, or every now and then have like him maybe have other characters appear in his movies and not so much him appear in other people's characters. I think because it can confuse the audience of like you have a character that can break the fourth wall, whereas everything else that's not happening. So I think it can be tricky if you have the right writers to do it. Then try it out. I would like to see him though interact with other characters, and it'll be interesting to see like how and if they do that. Um, but I would be okay with him just doing solo movies and have other characters appear in his stuff rather than him appearing in Avengers and a million other things.
Fair. You know what? I think I want him to do what they're doing with Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then I want him to hopefully take the momentum and hopefully be able to like feel fresh and renewed and try to do other stories. I mean, I saw Kim Feige saying that they want to go more still mature on the Deadpool or the Blade movie, which has me excited because I was really worried that they're going to try to be like tone it down or something with Blade. And I was like, you can't do that with Blade. You literally cannot do that, Blade, or else you're going to piss off everybody who loves Blade. But also like that perhaps they're going to maybe try to attack the X-Men and Avengers, perhaps storyline or whatever. And I just hope that they sets the tone, and then Deadpool can just have his Deadpool movies, that he gets to do standalone things, and then like Deadpool special movies of some kind, like the Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, or there's a whole bunch of Deadpool like comic runs that are just like really quirky and or whatever, and them adapting really fun materials, and leveraging the love for this character in a way that just complements him, and maybe keep maybe go back to the like maybe go to that original pitch where they go on the road trip after the fact, right? Like let it be something that we can just have a fun time with, and then have a big one every couple of years or something.
How many more movies do you think we can get out of Ryan Reynolds? The guy is he 50 something now?
Yeah, but the guy freaking the guy's drinking like the Holy Grail water.
Yeah, he is.
So I think we could easily get, if budgeting and the studios will play ball, 3 other movies
in the next decade.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Do you think they'll give him a show? I think he would be great for a show.
Oh, dude, if they give him a show,
but I don't think.
Okay, no. See, look,
they would.
If he had a show, they could kill it. The problem is, Disney doesn't know how to do shows.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I will tell you what I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
No.
I closed that chapter of my life with Logan, and it was a beautiful chapter to close. Like, I love Logan. I think it's one of the best comic book movies, best movies out there, period.
Yes.
We talk about James Mangold all the time. Okay, and what a great director.
James Mangold for liking our tweet.
Yeah,
we love you.
That's true. But I feel like I've gotten glimpses here and there on Twitter that he wants to like continue playing, and I'm like, I'm ready for a new Wolverine. Like I'm ready to move on. And it's not a criticism at Hugh Jackman. He's incredible.
Of course, but it comes down to the fact that they closed a chapter. They were bringing him back,
and I know that
for a story.
Yeah, and I know like they've obviously introduced variants, and this is what this is going. This Wolverine is a variant of Wolverine, but like I'm ready for someone else to play the character.
Who would you have play Wolverine?
I know like people have fan casted him a lot. What's his face? Daniel Radcliffe. He's short.
I've seen this. I've seen this as a fan, they've done mock-ups and things like that.
Yeah, like he's short, just like Wolverine is. Wolverine's only like 5'2", 5'3" in the comic books. He can bulk up, and the guy is hairy, which you need
Yes,
for a good
yes.
Wolverine. I feel like and Daniel Radcliffe's a great actor. Like he can bring the emotion and bulk him up. I think he would be a great Wolverine.
I would go with that. I'm down with that. I think it would give him something new to be.
Yeah,
And
he's he's what, mid-30s, so you can get at least 2 decades out of that.
easily for sure. Cool. Well, we hoped you enjoyed this episode of Real Chums. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and or more importantly, you can go to YouTube and subscribe to us because we release these episodes there as well as we do trailer reactions and other things. We are slightly slow right now, only because we're adapting to some new changes, but we desperately love doing all of our stuff there and here. So if you haven't, be sure to follow us so you never miss out on an episode.
But more importantly, we want to hear from you. What do you love and hate about Deadpool, if you hate anything? What did we miss? You can connect with us on YouTube, on socials at Real Chumps, or feel free to email us at your@realchums.com. You can connect with me on Twitter at Marstrosity, MARZTROSITY.
And me at Rubio_TV. Join us next week as we discuss our thoughts on The Acolyte. We are going to take a quick break from the movies that were for visiting movies, the original movies of the summer remakes and sequels, because we haven't been able to watch the next movie, but we have finished The Acolyte, and we want to give our thoughts with you guys.
So revisit it, come back, and let's have a healthy conversation on The Acolyte.
We'll see you in the next one.